No, you can go to 12:45. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, I'll ask one more time. Has anybody seen Mr. Riaz Ahmed at all?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will press on with this sixth session. I don't think that there's any need for any introduction. It is Building Resilient Communities. That's the title. The moderator is Dr. Martin Hadlow. We have people waiting via digital means, the other end of the world. We are in communication with them, and we will be talking to them presently. So I'll hand you over to Martin immediately to begin this session. So please settle down, don't use your mobile phones, and away we go with session 6. Martin.
Off to a quiet start there, but we're underway. Thank you very much indeed, Russell. Indeed, as Russell's mentioned, we're talking about building resilient communities, the smart village concept being part of this, and we'll be going over to our online colleagues in just a minute, our colleagues who are sitting waiting online. We have an interesting panel today. I couldn't really be more honored than to be sitting next to a colleague who's Chief Executive Officer and the founder of the Bangladesh NGOs Network for Radio and Communication, Community Radio, that is Fazlur Rahman, who's been a pioneer in this field and, in fact, a regional leader, if I can put it that way. And in the Q&A time, I hope to be able to ask him about how he was able to change the rules and regulations to ensure that community radio was able to be established in such a broad sense here in Bangladesh. And as we heard in our last session, it's been used so widely by government officials in ensuring that the message gets out in times of disaster. We also have with us the Director General of the Department of Disaster Management, the Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Mr. Riaz Ahmed, who's going to be talking about disaster preparedness for urban floods. He's a senior government official and has been working in this field and many other related fields for many years. Then, by the miracle of online, we're going to be crossing to find out more about the smart village concept in Pakistan, crossing to Karachi, and you can see our colleague, Mr. Otto Evienth, who's there on the screen right now. Otto, you have several hundred people here in the audience, and we're all looking forward to your presentation when we come to it, and I'll ask you to introduce your colleagues as we come to you. And then finally, we'll be concluding with a little video message from Joan Warner. Many of you may know her if you've been to ABU conferences in the past. She's the CEO of Commercial Radio Australia, which is the umbrella organization for the commercial radio stations in that country. However, let's get underway. Enough talk from me. Fazlur Rahman, if I'd like to ask you, please, if you could present on your topic, the role of community radio, the case of Bangladesh, and you're welcome to do so from your seat or from the podium, whichever suits you best.
Good morning, respected moderator and our mentor of community radio, Honorable Additional Secretary and Director General of Disaster Management, distinguished participant. Basically, community radio movement in South Asia is very new. In South Asia, basically, first started the community radio activities in Nepal, year of the 1996. Then year of the 2000, 1996, India started the community radio activities, and Bangladesh basically, our government approved the community radio policy year of the 2008. So basically, other part of the world, South Asia, basically community radio movement is very, we call a new movement. Before that, I would like to invite you to enjoy one very small video clip. So I think you can start the video clip. Not this one. This film come from Philippines. No problem, most welcome.
Just while we're waiting for the video to come up,
Nowadays,
we will have questions at the end.
information is power. People's right of resources and empowerment depend on having their rights to information. The effect of globalization creates the gaps of information and knowledge among the people of cities and villages in Bangladesh. This information gap is causing the rural people lose their control over resources.
আমরা যে নদী গর্ভে যে সব সময় যে আমরা যে বসবাস করতেছি আসলে খুব আমাদের জীবনটা খুবই আমরা এই নদীর সাথে কিন্তু মিশে আছি আমাদের এই জীবনটা
Bangladesh NGOs Network for Radio and Communication, BNNRC, and a few other organizations are working from year 2000 to ensure the voice of the voiceless. The diligent and unimpeded endeavor with the government's goodwill afforded peaceful settings of community radio. We started the journey in the year 2008. Community radio is transmitting programs based on information, education, local entertainment and development over 125 hours in a day and 840 hours in a week. Within them, 66 hours of programs are broadcast live. 5.6 million people listen community radio. These programs and news give out important issues as agriculture, health, education, weather, natural disaster, women and child, disaster management, environment, human trafficking, child marriage, and many more.
রেডিও থেকে আমরা খবরাখবর এবং দুর্যোগ বা বন্যা ঝড় তুফানের খবর নিই হয়তো সংকেত পাওয়ার সাথে সাথে আমরা উপকূলের কাছাকাছি চলে আসি
জিওসরা যে আবহাওয়া বার্তা নামে একটা অনুষ্ঠান যায় সেটাতে আমরা দক্ষিণ অঞ্চলের মানুষ খুবই উপকৃত হই
During the time of Cyclone Mahashan, when the electricity connection is cut off in coastal areas, community radio helped people with information. Community radio is spreading all over the country. Especially, radio stations are lodged at river erosion, prone to natural disaster, impoverished, electricity and modern communication and modern broadcasting disadvantaged area.
এই রেডিওটা হওয়ার পর অনেকগুলো দুর্যোগ হয়েছে যেমন মহাসেন হয়েছিল তখন আমরা একদম বিদ্যুৎ বিচ্ছিন্ন ছিল পুরো মানে সব জায়গায় তখন আমরা কন্টিনিউ রেডিও চালিয়েছি
For their voice, they will have confidence with the belief that the sun will rise again if it sets down. Someday, grassroots people will find lights in the darkness through community radio. Voice of the voiceless people will be assured. Nowadays,
Thank you very much. Now I will back to my presentation. Basically, this is the geographical distribution of the community radio in Bangladesh. And recently, Bangladesh government has already decided to approve more community radio. And in Bangladesh, we have a 64 district. Government would like to allow more community radio in Bangladesh very soon. Basically, DRR and CCA, we are the broadcaster. We are not an expert of the DRR and also CCA, but in our content, basically, the community radio produce every day 135-hour program in line with development. And DRR and also CCA is part of our content. So you saw the some picture, say first one, our community reporter go to the during the disaster time and sometime flash water flood like this. So reporter go to directly to the home and take the interview directly there. In Bangladesh, we have already faced 3 disasters, one called Mohasen, another one Roanu and Komen. So based on this, we are following SOD. In the morning sessions, our secretary already mentioned the SOD. So through the SOD, basically we are following SOD and disaster cycle, say free and during time, basically we broadcast early warning. This basically this warning supplied by BMD, Bangladesh Meteorological Department, and as well as Bangladesh Betar also. We disseminate the decision that means local decision. Upazila Nirbahi officer, deputy commissioner, and as well as local administration. So we disseminate frequently the local administration decision regarding the preparedness and also further action. Then we disseminate the message regarding the DRR as well as other and also action. Like this. And then we take interview also from the grassroots, like Union Disaster Management Committee, Upazila Disaster Management Committee, as well as District Disaster Management Committee, and as well as community people. So that this program basically very much interactive. Then post-disaster, basically we try to emphasize the agricultural production related matter, and as well as public health care. Primary health care related information to the community. And then disseminate about relief and rehabilitation related activities, because that time this is a very important thing. And then livelihood issue. We have a livelihood cycle regarding the community media for the community radio, so we follow the livelihood issues related content. This is the format regarding community radio. This is a very versatile area. We are using drama format, discussion format, folk media, interview, level of degree sports, public fora like this regarding the format and process and then context and then content. So basically this is the versatile activities in the community radio so that community can understand their own dialect. There is some success story. We have two, I will share with you one success story and another one bitter experience. This one success story, we have already success regarding the inclusion. Inclusion of Dalit communities in Bangladesh. This is one kind of success story, but that one also a bitter experience in Bangladesh regarding the community radio, because so we go to long way to answer this question. Though we have in our station, we have lot of equipment, a lot of ICTs, but still we will go a long way to mobilize the community, to better mobilization of the community people. We are facing some challenges and we have some way forward also. Challenges, that means, first we would like to share with you regarding the results. Government also and also community people very much acknowledge regarding the community radio activities, especially coastal areas and also northern part of Bangladesh. And in morning time, our secretary, Honorable Secretary, also endorsed the community radio. Thank you, sir, for your nice comments regarding the community radio matter. We have some challenge also, holistic integration of the subject matter. So only disaster time, only during the disaster or pre-disaster, our community radio basically try to integrate the DRR theme. But we need a holistic way, basically, integrated all time. So every day we are producing 135-hour program. So I think maybe 10 to 15-hour program reserved for the CCA and also DRR, I think. Second one is very challenging area, clear message and provide the concrete example. You know, DRR and also CCA, climate change adaptation, is a very technical word also. They are using very technical word. So this is, we are facing a challenge regarding develop a clear message, provide a concrete example. We call sky to ground. So this is a very big challenge also we are facing. Community mobilization also one of the challenge, because now we are covering community radio station 25 kilo radius. So from radio station to 15 kilo radius, mobilization level is very good. Rickshaw, cycle, and other way we are mobilizing the community people. But last 10 mile, basically, we fail to mobilize basically very early. So this is one kind of challenge we are facing. And also continuously provide the training to the community broadcasters in line with DRR as well as CCA like this. And also another one challenge we are facing, say, maintaining generator basically. You know, during the disaster time, our national grid basically completely cut off from the coastal level, coastal areas. So that time we need a generator. So if community radio run the generator, you know the cost level is so high at that areas. Last one is we need a technical cooperation also from the different side. Now we so grateful to the Bangladesh government. Bangladesh government providing a lot of, especially from the Ministry of Information, providing a lot of training to the community radio broadcasters for their building capacity. But our community radio stations also need, apart from training, some long-term cooperation from the government side also. And as well as building capacity of the community broadcasters and as well as community radio stations. This is the long-term, I think, challenge area. So with this, I would like to end here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for reminding us that it's not so much about equipment and technology, but it's really about the message, and presenting that in a holistic manner and holistic sense is what's most important. And thanks for bringing to mind some of the problems and issues involved. You can read more about this, I should have mentioned, in your booklet. There's an article by Fazlur Rahman there. So if you'd like to read that further, you're welcome to do so. My pleasure now to turn to our second speaker, Mr. Riyad Ahmed, the Director General of the Department of Disaster Management with the government here in Bangladesh. Please.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable moderator and the participants in this event. My presentation is regarding urban flood preparedness in Bangladesh. Presentation overview is floods in Bangladesh, urban flood in Bangladesh, regions of urban flooding, impacts of urban flooding, measures for managing urban flooding, and recommendations. Here is the map of Bangladesh, and the flood-prone area is shown here. And the types of flooding in Bangladesh, these are river floods, rainfall floods, tidal floods, and flash flood. The last one is not applicable for urban flooding, but the first three, they are the cause of urban flooding. The economic losses due to major floods. Here in 1987, we faced urban flood. In US dollar, it is $1 billion loss. In 1988, after 1 year, another urban flood occurred and $1.2 billion loss and damage. In 1998, just after 10 years, another urban flood occurred and $2.8 billion loss. In 2004, another urban flood and $2.3 million loss. In 2007, another urban flood, $1.1 billion total loss. Here is some pictures of urban flood. Flood in Dhaka city in 2004, Motijhil area, Niketan area of Gulshan, houses beside Hatir Jhil. And here is other urban flooding in 1955, 1974 also. The urban flooding, it is caused by rainfall flooding, by high intensity storm rainfall, runoff in the city area causes flooding, in situation where nature drainage might be possible. River flooding results for high water levels of perihal river system, rendering by natural and drainage impossible. You see, you know that our Dhaka city is surrounded by many rivers named the Buriganga, the Balu, Turag, and Dholeshwari rivers. Sometimes for these rivers, due to rainfall and the river, the flooding occurs in Dhaka city. In Chittagong, for the river of Kornofuli, the urban flooding occurs. Reasons of urban flooding. Factors increasing flood vulnerability in urban areas, that is for climate change, induces excessive rainfall. This year, perhaps we have seen that from 28th March, 7th April, we faced serious rainfall. And from the meteorological department, the data we came to know that the expected rainfall was 5,000 millimeter in this month of April. But the rainfall was actually more than 10,000. That is 11,000 something, and it is 134% higher, more rainfall in the country. Change in land use, encroachment and blockade of canals, unplanned urbanization and high population density, changes in upstream catchments, insufficient capacity of local drainage system. These are the reasons of urban flooding. Now, here it is written in another way, the same. Excessive rainfall, drainage management system, development works during rainy season, shortage of construction materials, water logging, waste management system, topography, rapid and unplanned urbanization, cutting the hills, population increase. These are the reasons of urban flooding in Bangladesh. Now, the impacts of urban flooding. Impact, these are water logging. By water logging, our daily lives is restricted, and also the livelihood of poor people and day laborers is restricted. Snapped train communication, submerged roads and vehicles congestion, induction of the airport runway. The flight operation at the Chittagong airport sometimes terminated, we know it. Drowning, mudslide, landslides. Here is some pictures which show the impacts of urban flooding. Here is a video clip, I think. I am requesting to start the video clip. Now, the impacts of urban flooding, mudslide, landslide in Chittagong district, in Chittagong city. Measures for managing urban flooding. Adaptation measures to reduce impacts of urban flooding. Introduce new introducing new sluice gates and increasing pump station at key locations, laying of new drainage pipes, city canals, desilting the key drainage pipes, constructing embankments. After 1988, our construction of embankment is completed. That's why recently we are somehow safe. Measures for managing urban flooding. This is IVR, early warning dissemination through IVR, interactive voice response, a technology that automates interactions with telephone callers. Develop mechanism for urban flood risk management and disaster resilience. Protect natural drainage system and water bodies. Improvement of waste management system. Drainage capacity adjustment. Improvement of drainage management system. Develop public awareness. Strong legal instruments. Coordination among concerned authorities, stakeholders, comprehensive drainage development plan, principles, guidelines for urban flood risks management, flood risk assessment, preparedness and data accessibility, community hazard mapping, community-based early warning system, lessons learned from previous floods, enforcement of existing law, and exemplary punishment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that comprehensive overview of flooding, and particularly in urban areas. And from personal experience, I know how frightening it is when you're watching floodwaters coming towards your home and entering your home, and there's very little you can do about it at that stage, and you'd hope that someone had done something upstream, as it were, or earlier in the piece with early warnings and so forth. We just had a cyclone in the state of Australia where I live, in Queensland, and some areas received 35 inches of rain in 24 hours. That's over 800 mils. So we also know how it can happen to anyone, and we also know how terrible it is to watch those floodwaters approaching. Thank you. Now we're going to span the subcontinent and go to Karachi, where we have Otto Evient and a group on hand to talk about the smart village concept, but they do have a little video first. So we can go to the video first, and then we'll cross directly online to the other side of the subcontinent.
Welcome to Global Peddlers Pakistan, a new but internationally tested e-commerce and e-skill platform launched in Pakistan for women entrepreneurship and community empowerment. This platform connects international buyers directly to local traditional product makers and skilled women artisans. With rigorous training on internationally acceptable standards of quality and connecting these products with customers, firstly, the project is being launched in Europe as well as in Middle East, and then gradually all over the world. Global Peddlers Pakistan has developed its facilities and outlets currently in Norway as well as in Dubai. The state-of-the-art ICT setup and live video communication links for training, as well as in remote locations using telepresence robotic intervention for trainings of artisans, as well as call centers, using call centers for support from customers. These all will be used, these ICT tools will all be used to train remote Pakistani female artisans by European designers for mega social uplift. The first Global Peddlers pilot is currently being established in outskirts of commercial capital of Pakistan, Karachi, at a village called Memangot, which is 60 kilometers from main city. This will be connecting 64 villages covering 1,600 square kilometers area, having 2.4 million population. With the support of rural development organizations, Global Peddlers will train women in embroidery, hand-woven, traditional Sindhi and Balochi products and handicrafts, all according to European themes and likeness. In this short video, you will see intervention, training, product display and making of thousands of years old traditional products with live interviews of the upcoming future ladies entrepreneurs. Local women power with international expertise is the theme of Global Peddlers Pakistan. Thank you.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम आयशा बीबी है और मेरे साथ मेरी साथी सायरा बलोच है और मैं आपको आज अपने कल्चर ड्रेस के बारे में कुछ बताना चाहूँगी। ये जो आपको नज़र आ रहा है ये हमारा बलोची ड्रेस है, इसको हम पश्क बोलते हैं और इसमें जो ये दोच है ये बलोची दोच है, यानी इस कढ़ाई को हम दोच बोलते हैं। और इसके बारे में मैं आपको थोड़ा बताना चाहूँगी। इसको हम ख़ास तौर पर अपने शादी ब्याह वगैरह या अपने रूटीन में भी हम पहनते हैं। ये हमारा ट्रेडिशनल सदियों पुराना ड्रेस है जो कि बलूचिस्तान से बनता हुआ अब कराची और सिंध में भी ये बनने लगा है। इसके बनाने में हम लोगों को तकरीबन 8 महीने से 1 साल का टाइम लगता है और काम के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कि काम कितना ज़्यादा है और कितना कम है, उस हिसाब से इसको टाइम लग रहा होता है। मज़ीद इस पे जो मटेरियल यूज़ होता है वो ज़्यादातर ऊन का काम होता है, ऊन से सारी कढ़ाई होती है और शीशा भी इस्तेमाल होता है और मुख्तलिफ कलर से जो कलर मैचिंग होते हैं उनसे इसमें बेसिकली 6 कलर इस्तेमाल होते हैं। रेड, वाइट, ब्लैक, सारे इसके बेसिक रंग होते हैं वाइट और सारे जो है वो इनके कॉम्बिनेशन से सारा ये दोच बनता है। और इसको अगर हम देखें तो इसमें जो बनाने में टाइम या जो तमाम चीज़ें होती हैं उसमें कुछ मुश्किलात भी आ रही होती हैं जो हमारे जो आर्टिसन होते हैं, जो दस्तकार होते हैं, उनको दरपेश होती है। उसमें ये होता है कि वो जहाँ पे सदियों से पुराना जो काम कर रहे हैं बस उसी तक महदूद है, उनको कोई जदीद ट्रेनिंग नहीं मिली। यानी अगर हम इस काम को अगर आगे बढ़ाएं, अगर हम इसमें दूसरी चीज़ें लेकर आएँ या जूते बनवाना या पर्स बनवाना या बेडशीट्स, उनकी कोई ट्रेनिंग नहीं है या वो कोई मशीनरी वगैरह उनके पास नहीं है, वो सारा काम हाथ से करते हैं और वहीं तक महदूद है जहाँ पे सदियों पुराना ये काम हो रहा था। यानी ये काम इस तरीके से होता है और फिर ये मार्केट तक जाता है और लोकल मार्केट्स और बलूच कम्युनिटीज़ में ये सेल आउट होता है, लोग इसको पहनते हैं अपने घरों में और इस्तेमाल करते हैं। शुक्रिया।
इसमें शीशा लगता है और इस डिज़ाइन से ज़्यादा बेडशीटें, कपड़े वगैरह बहुत सारी चीज़ें से बनाई जाती है जिसमें अच्छे तरीके से डिज़ाइनिंग होती है उनमें और उनमें बहुत तरीके से यानी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसमें बेडशीटें हम बनाते हैं, कपड़ा और छोट वगैरह बनाते हैं, उसमें डिज़ाइंस भी अलग तरीके से चेंज करके बनाए जाते हैं और उनमें कढ़ाई में भी बहुत मुख्तलिफ किस्म के डिज़ाइंस बनाए जाते हैं जो बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम गुलनाज है और ये रली है मतलब 4 पाई की और तकरीबन इससे बहुत सालों पुरानी है, बहुत डिफरेंट इसमें क्वालिटीज़ है, बहुत डिफरेंट डिज़ाइन है और मतलब इस पर जो कपड़ा है वो सिल्क का यूज़ किया हुआ है।
सर्दियों में और ये रेशमी कपड़े पे बनाई गई है और इसको बनाने में इनको 1 महीना लग जाता है।
ये कढ़ाई का काम है, ये एक सूट है, बहुत अच्छा हम बनाते हैं और देखें इसमें रेशम भी बहुत सारे चलते हैं और एम्ब्रॉयडरी बहुत अच्छी है ये काम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम हाजरा गफ़ार है। ये मेरा काम है कुरेशों का। ये हम जो कुरेशों निकालते हैं ये दुपट्टों पे होता है, मतलब कि चादरों पे होता है, बलोची जो हम कपड़े पहनते हैं उनके किनारों पे होता है, तकियों पे होता है। और ये जो अरबी जो अबायास वगैरह हैं या अरबी गवन होते हैं उन पे भी ये काम हमारे यहाँ से बाहर मुल्क भी जाता है।
Let's move from the video, if we could, to the presentation. It was extremely interesting to see the traditional clothing that's being made. Let's hear more about it. Otto, perhaps you could introduce your colleagues and tell us the story.
I have to say hello to everybody. A lot of you I know from beforehand. I've been attending the ABU summits for a number of years and speaking there. This time here, I've taken the challenge to be in the midst of a project instead of presenting one. As you all know, I've been occupied with our organization. I've been occupied with media-based interventions for change and change processes. And one of the first things we have always said to be important is to make the challenge owners aware of the challenges and to define the challenges in such a manner that we could build an organization around them which could support and help and to be together with them to solve the issues raised. In this case here, in Member, which is an area that we've been presented with, they have challenges connected with natural changes, both too much water and too little water, agricultural production which is not yielding as it should, fisheries which are plentiful but without the equipment needed to make good use of fish and to see to it that it's contributing to the necessary nutrition for children and grown-ups to have a decent livelihood and to contribute to the further development of the region through their crafts. Global Peddlers have been now establishing a project in there which is helping people to use their skills to produce products which are sellable in other parts of the world. And some of you will know that we've been doing that for years and quite some success, where we've brought felt from Mongolia, ragrugs from China and Sri Lanka, furniture from China, and we've been learning that these projects have been working and left the local societies with an income which has also made it possible for them to deal with the extreme natural events which we see like all of us will have to learn with for years to come. And I think it's a very important issue in the discussion we've had with people here, that we can't any longer describe them as catastrophes. Some of them are likely to be coming back, and we need to meet them as such. We need to find a way of life which is taking into consideration that these changes will happen. To be able to do this, we have a partner, Mr. T, who will say something words, together with representatives from the local society, on how we will work together under the slogan of collective action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is indeed an opportunity to work with organizations like you all, whereby we have a good option to work out things as a collective action and provide this opportunity to the suppressed economic people, especially ladies, who are working wonderful things from home, but they were unable to reach the international markets at all. So with the support of ICT and with the wonderful intent of the local people, we are able to generate a wonderful flux which will directly affect around 20 million people, and this is a big figure. And as Otto said, that now we don't need to wait for certain actions from external agencies. We can work out things from our own. With me, these are the people who are representing the coastal area as well as the desert area. And these are the people who have taken the challenge of putting the whole society and whole community into the world map with their own products, which are wonderful. And with the now good examples, and we have the success examples from other countries, which we have a very good pattern to follow. Inshallah, we would be succeeding. A small group which is sitting of leadership is sitting with me. I would like a couple of lines from them to say hello to you, just to get integrated with this.
Hello everybody, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Yunus Naskari. I am president of Haiti Samaj Sangha Fishermen Social Friends from Karachi coastal area.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Salim J. Memon from Karachi Rural Network. The international city Karachi and Karachi is the part of rural areas. 24 million population. So social economics, agriculture and fishermen.
Hello everybody. Hi, my name is Mohammad Iqbal. I am living in the city of Karachi, part of rural area district Mali. We work in rural areas and urban areas. Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you very much for the your introduction. So we are sure that by using these new techniques and using ICT globally, the things which used to develop in years would, which we have noticed, that they would be we would be able to develop in months, definitely, for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Before I...
Let me end this by saying that project Smart Communities is really an invention by ABU and Your Media. This is a follow-up on some of the things that Natalia Ilieva, Nadeem, Javed, myself and some others have been working on. And it is about empowering, it is about sharing experiences, and it's also about media-based interventions for development. We totally believe in the sharing of information, the sharing of experiences, and we have an extensive usage of high-tech information and communication technologies through EduCars here in Pakistan to help us do this. So, and we are more than willing to exchange with any of you in the audience experiences and see how we could further develop our methodologies for enhancement of capabilities to meet with natural changes and also with other challenges in underdeveloped or in developing regions.
Otto, thank you, and gentlemen.
So, just to underline, yesterday we committed to working together by signing up between ourselves and the local communities, the councils, the Fishermen's Association, like was that here, and other coordinating bodies for the region. So we are forming this as an entity which is going to function in a commercial manner with some support. That's
We will come back to Otto in a moment or two, I hope, once the line is back, the internet is back with us. That was very interesting, some very interesting concepts there, which I think many of us in the room would like to find out more about, and we will have questions, plenty of time for questions in just a few moments. Let's go to the final presentation, formal presentation of this particular session, which relates to the role of radio in disasters. Is from, as I mentioned, from Joan Warner, who's the CEO of Commercial Radio Australia, which is a sort of an umbrella network for commercial broadcasters in Australia. There are two main groups. We have the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, which is the public service broadcaster, which until now has been the emergency channel that you go to first, but the commercial sector, being so large, also wants to be a part of that too, as they reach a greater audience probably, or different audience, and they have been able to get the government to agree that all emergency messages will now go across all platforms. So perhaps Joan might talk about that.
Hello to everyone at the 3rd ABU Media Summit on climate change. Climate change is an issue for all of us here in the Asia Pacific region, and each year many of us experience natural disasters and emergencies. Radio's role in natural disasters and emergencies is extremely important. We are always on 24/7, and at times when mobile networks go down and television is not working or our listeners can't get to a TV, we know that radio is always there via battery-powered radios, solar-powered radios, or via a car radio. In Australia, commercial radio has a very important part to play in times of emergency. We have 80% of the listening audience, and along with the public service broadcasters, the ABC and SBS, we are designated as official emergency broadcasters. And I would hope that that would be the same situation in every country in this region. Radio has a great reach in times of trouble, and people turn to their radio because they know that we will always be there, giving them advice, giving them updates, and after a disaster or an emergency, giving them information on where they can obtain relief. We have prepared just a short video on how radio has performed in Australia in a range of emergencies, floods and bushfires. And the people that you hear on the audio of this video are either the presenters from radio stations or they're the listeners who have called in after or during an emergency. The pictures, of course, are provided by television, but as I note, the audio has been provided by our radio stations and by our listeners. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great conference.
We have the chance to turn the pages over.
This is a deeply serious natural disaster.
We can write what we want to write. We gotta make ends meet before we get much.
Roads have literally turned to rivers and more are becoming cut off by the minute.
We need SES here so urgently. We have a lady and her baby on top of a roof.
We're all someone's daughter. We're all someone's son.
If anyone's out there who can give assistance, it sounds like a very serious situation.
Oh, it is very serious.
You know, the submerged homes were at water level up to the gutters, and they're banging on the roofs and screaming out, "Are you there? Are you there?"
You're the voice trying to understand it. Make a noise and make it clear.
I think that the local radio station's got more current information because people are ringing things that's happening in my area. So the information you've got is current and it's accurate.
Did you have the opportunity to get anything out of the house before you left?
No, nothing at all. Just my brother, that's the main thing. My brother and my mum and dad.
Look, without embarrassing you, but if we could find a caravan and bits and pieces, would that help you out?
But yeah, it would, eh?
If people have got their battery-operated radio with them, it's important that they keep it with you because we'll try and get you the information as it comes to hand throughout the night.
The boys from 4 a.m. kept our spirits up the whole way through a very, very terrifying ordeal.
Putting the information out there, because at the moment, radio is everything to us. You know, we're just sitting here and that's where we're getting all the information from.
We're going to hold a charity footy match to raise money for the flood-affected communities of Queensland.
Our tally right now is $10,287. We've absolutely smashed it.
You can just see what's happening out in the community. It gives you that extra strength you need, and the community spirit and what makes us all Australians is alive and well.
Well, I think the pictures there and the audio tell the story. Just as a matter of interest, that is in my home state, and that was the recent cyclone that we had, and you saw people coming out afterwards. We call them the Mud Army, the volunteers who come out and help you get all the mud out of your house. Didn't have any mud in our house, fortunately, but As you can see, many houses were destroyed, quite a number of people died, and all the emergency, the phone system went out because the electricity was lost, so mobile phone coverage was lost, which meant that radio came to the fore, particularly AM radio, particularly the traditional AM radio broadcasting. FM, of course, doesn't cover everywhere, but AM does usually, so it was extremely useful in that situation. Now it's time for, we do have time for questions, and could we have any questions from the floor? If you'd like to put your hand up, and we'll get there's a gentleman here, if we can have the folks with the microphones, please. And a question here too. I can see 3 so far. Hopefully you have questions for Otto so that we can go over there as well. Just before, while I'm waiting for questions and waiting for the microphones, we got the microphone, gentlemen, please. Do come round. There's a gentleman in the front row. There's a lady over here. Gentleman there. While we're waiting for those microphones, can I ask Bazar Rahman about the legislative changes that he helped to make? Just before we come to you, sir, I'll just finish with this question. The legislative changes that came about in Bangladesh to bring about community radio, because there was no legal way of doing it, no law that said you can't have a community radio station. And I should say that, in case you didn't know in the audience, the legislation here in Bangladesh changed, in fact, legislation in neighboring countries and across the region. Many people look to the legislation here and the way you did it. How did you do it?
Yeah, thank you very much. Basically, in Bangladesh, we started our movement year of the 1998 for open up the community radio movement in Bangladesh, basically. So we thankful to the Ministry of Information. After long advocacy, Ministry of Information form a policy, basically year of the 2008. So Bangladeshi community radio basically started with policy. Still our Nepalese friend struggle for developing a policy, but they have no policy. But in Bangladesh, we have a policy, full-fledged policy. I think it is I call it is a very best policy around the world now. And after 8-year exercise in Bangladesh community radio, then now Ministry of Information, headed by our Honorable Secretary is here, headed by Secretary. Now revision the process is going on. We hope very soon, under the leadership of our Honorable Secretary, Ministry of Information will declare the new policy of community radio in Bangladesh. New policy basically emphasizes there are 3 areas. Ministry of Information now trying to introduce some advertisement for the community radio so that community radio can operate independently, editorially independent, and also reach the multi-generation to the community, and as well as using the multimedia presence and serve the better of the community. So that Ministry of Information now try to facilitate some advertisement, at least 10% like this. Second area is to allow the community radio activities campus like this. We have a lot of university in Bangladesh, different part of corner of Bangladesh. So university or educational institute can start a campus radio, say like this. So these are the new good thing, I think, coming very soon in Bangladesh. So we are so very lucky. Bangladeshi community media radio sector started with the policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, indeed, regional leaders, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for helping to create this enabling environment which has made such a social impact in your country and the region too. Now questions, the gentleman here in the front row, and then we'll go to a lady over here.
My name is Dewan Shiraj. I'm working in Bangladesh Television as a presenter of agriculture development program since long time. My question is to Mr. Abuccdrr Rahman, Chief Executive Officer and Founder, Bangladesh Community Radio. It is a good presentation, thank you very much first, and I'm expecting some words in your presentation. So the community radio have is there any regular events or program on climate change risk reduction information to the local people? And is there any scope to include your weather forecast or agriculture forecast? Is there any regular events in your community radio? Although we are working in Bangladesh television in the agriculture program, so in these events, I am requesting to Mr. our DZ to please allow us to include regular events in our programs in climate change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your nice question. Basically, now our community radio sector, altogether 17 community radio stations are producing 135-hour program per day. So within 135-hour program, yes, weather news is our central part of this. Basically, we are receiving this weather news, weather information from the BMD, Meteorological Department, and as well as Bangladesh Betar. Then our producers, basically, this news try to translate in the local dialect, say like Chittagonian, Siloti, and as well as northern Chapandoabganj like this. So that way, basically, they are using the local dialect through weather. But it is a still challenge also. And as well as CCA, climate change adaptation also. Yes, we have a level of degree content, but we are now trying to develop our capacity through National Institute of Mass Communication. And we are so grateful to our Honorable Secretary. He already instructed to the National Institute of Mass Communication so that they can organize more training for the community radio sector to address the SDG issue, especially Tero, 16, and our Prime Minister has also 10 initiative of the Prime Minister. We call Sheikh Hasina 10 initiative. This is one kind of brand as well as 7th 5-year plan. So that way, basically, we are trying to addressing the CCA as well as weather information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a question over here from the lady in the front row. Do you have a microphone with you, please? While we're waiting for, while we're waiting for a microphone, we have a microphone. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Khaled Akhtar Labuni and I am the communication officer from Bangladesh Red Crescent Society. So my question is to Mr. Buzdur Rahman, and he knew it very well that Bangladesh Red Crescent Society, we did 30-hour community radio show from 2014 with several community radios, and we're also planning to have more 30 radio shows in this year with another 2 community radio stations. So my question is to Mr. Buzdur Rahman that you are the expert in Bangladesh, and can you please suggest us that how we can do the outreach program of these community radio shows so other community people can be engaged and involved, and they can, or by these, the community radio shows, the community can build a community really resilient. How we can do that? Thank you.
We have some community radio station manager in here. Sir, we are so grateful to Ministry of Information and also BTB to invite our community radio station manager. Can I request you to stand up, all community radio station manager? Now I request you to raise your hand. So thank you very much. We are maintaining in Bangladesh one principle, basically operate the community radio. No to central content, yes to knowledge. No to central content, that means community radio stations are producing 135-hour program per day with the participation of the community with a local dialect. No to central content, that means from the Dhaka level, suited-booted house, radio house, produce a lot of program. We basically protect this type of knowledge. We allow the text, basically. We request the all producer, please send the text to knowledge material to the radio station. Then our radio station will produce a very good program. And I think that program may be world standard. Because last year, our United Nations recognized us community radio practice in Bangladesh as a best practice. And this year also, our 2 projects recognized by the International Telecommunication Union as a champion program, so that When we produce 135-hour program, we need 4,000 community participation per day at the community radio station. So yes to knowledge, but no to central knowledge with a recording. Thank you.
And we have, as we have community radio people here in the audience, I think they're a fantastic resource, and I hope that you'll engage with them to learn more about what they're doing and how they can assist you too. Look, we will come back to Otto in just a few moments to hear more if he's available online. But firstly, a question from this gentleman.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Mohammad Jasimuddin, Professor Botany, Dhaka University. My question is to the Director General of Disaster Management. So in your lecture, you mentioned urban flood. Urban floods main cause is due to the lack of coordination among the stakeholders. My question is why the government or your department some extent fail to coordinate among DESA, WASA, city corporation or the government? Why? There is another question. You mentioned the Dhaka is bounded by some rivers. As we know all, the river is polluted and silted. Do you have any plan under your department to clean the river? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your valuable question. The coordination always it is seemed that there would be some coordination, but always there should some gap. And I think this is the main causes for our urban disaster. From our ministry, we are trying to make advocacy to the Ministry of Electricity and related ministry, gas, natural gas, to automation of these gas lines and electricity lines. They are also trying, but it is yet to be done. When this work will be done, then we can say that our coordination effort is successful and we would be free from the urban flood. Thank you.
Can I at this stage go back to Otto, if Otto is still there online with his colleagues across the subcontinent. We don't have any questions for you from the floor, but I'd like to make the comment, the talk of collective action and the use of ICTs, which allows people to be part of the global agenda, and particularly these media-based, as you call them, media-based interventions for development. Can you give us some other examples? We've seen the idea of young women making clothing and so forth. Can you give us other examples of the successes of your smart village concept, please?
We'll do that. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. The smart village concept was really based on the development we had in KL some 15 years back, and we have now deployed it in Africa, in China, and it is about first of all, the identification of challenges. It starts off with the local people identifying their challenges in order for us to prioritize them and discuss what to organize to deal with them. And then to use media to connect people with similar situations in kind of a community of practices system. So we have been teaching weaving from weavers in Norway to weavers in Ampara in southeastern Sri Lanka. We have been doing furniture making via media, by community of practice thinking, from China to Norway and vice versa, and also to France and Germany. And the idea behind the whole thing has been to think like global peddlers. why shouldn't we use the advantage of having the the craftsmen or craftswomen in other parts of the world to do tailor-made products for markets in other regions of the world. And of course, then you have to have a communication system which is making it possible for the craftsperson and the buyer to communicate on the product. And whether you believe it or not, we have had furniture for big old houses in Norway made by Chinese, and where they have had the advantage of a fairly low salary, but still a good salary relative to the Norwegian salary. And we have had it transported from China by ship to Norway and delivered, and all parties have been extremely happy. So I think media-based interventions are totally possible, and it's possible both to create community of practices and to create links between users and producers, which allow for business development without a lot of middlemen. And I think that is needed to be able to leave local societies with an income which is making or basis for a sustainable livelihood. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Otto. And I think on that very optimistic note, we should conclude this particular session. We are 5 minutes over time, but I think that's a great example of international dialogue, of empowerment, of exchange of information and knowledge, and of course, with financial accomplishment at the end, there is an income as well. So it ticks all the boxes, it would seem. Thank you very much indeed to Otto and all of the team. That's Otto Evient and all the team sitting in the Karachi studios. Thank you so much. Thank you to Australia? Yes. Joan Warner in Australia, thank you. And of course to my two colleagues here on the platform. And thank you to you. Much appreciated.
Martin and panelists, thank you very much indeed. If I could just jump in here, there was the question there about how do we sustain resilient communities for community radio. May I just point you to the awards, the ABU awards last night for disaster risk reduction, and indeed it was a community radio station that won the award for disaster risk reduction, Community Radio Polycontho. And I was privileged enough to be on the adjudicating panel, and their work was absolutely exceptional. That program was superb, and it was against some very, very sophisticated producers. So in answer to your question, I think, how do you sustain resilient communities? I would say by just being there, by being proactive, by being part of communities and reflecting what's going on in those communities. That's what Radio Polycontho were doing. They were including personal stories, and they were turning it into warnings, but people trusted them because they were on the ground. And I think that the role of community radios when it comes to disaster risk reduction, absolutely crucial. They absolutely take over from national broadcasters when those disasters are about to hit and after they've hit. So it's just being there and maintaining your enthusiasm, I think, that actually makes it resilient, and people will trust you and they will listen to you. So that's my little contribution to that. We are going to lunch now, and therefore we can return in 1 hour. We will start the next session at 1:45. We'll try to start it at 1:20 if you're all seating there. It will be our last two sessions before we go into the climax of the 2 days and come out with our Dhaka statement of intent. So if you can join us within 1 hour's time, we'd be very grateful. And once again, I'll remind you, if you have questions for the final panel, please submit them on paper to the media room. Some people have already done so. We have some questions. And also, if you wish to come on the tour tomorrow, the boat trip, please register at the desk there. Thank you for your participation this morning. Please enjoy your lunch and come back in 1 hour's time. Thank you.